One of my favorite influencers, Ali Abdaal, launched an app recently, VoicePal. I'm going to show you how you can build VoicePal in 30 minutes without having any programming knowledge. Now, quick note to Ali, please don't sue me. I'm just going to call this app not VoicePal. Here's a quick demo of where we'll end up. Let's start recording. Here are the top 5 reasons why I think SaaS is the next big opportunity. Number 1, it's really easy to make software without code now. Number 2, now I've got my writer's block and I need some nudges to help me in my further ideation. Okay, there's recurring revenue. I've got some ideas to talk further and I can continue the conversation. This, in a nutshell, is the foundation of VoicePal. For those of you who are new here, over the past 4.5 years, I've helped more than 100 plus businesses build and launch custom software and AI applications. Let's get started. So let's just break down one by one what VoicePal is doing. The first step it's doing is that it's recording some audio. After that, it's passing the audio to some AI and asking it to generate some text. The text is to steer the conversation a bit more as a ghostwriter. And after that whole journey is done, then it uses the AI to generate a newsletter, a journal entry, or a YouTube script, a tweet, whatever you can name it, whatever you want. Now we are going to be using 2 platforms to build Not VoicePal, Bubble.io and OpenAI API. Both of them don't require any programming background as such, and don't worry, I'll walk you through step by step throughout the process. All right. So let's get started. Now, step 1, sign up to Bubble.io. You can get started for free. It's a fantastic no-code platform that lets you build powerful web applications without learning how to code. I want you to go through the onboarding steps, create a new application, and just start with a blank canvas here. Don't worry about all these. I'll explain step by step what they are. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink the size because it's for desktop. I'm just going to click on the canvas. I'm going to go to layout and I'm going to change the width to 500 just to make it more mobile-like feel. Okay. I'm just going to drag and drop a text element here and call my app Not VoicePal. If Ali is listening, please don't sue me. Now, I would like this to be slightly big. So I'm just going to make this a bit bigger, and I'm going to scroll down till I find the style option, and I'm going to change it to something like heading 3. Looking back at my reference, now let's go step by step. We just need to record the audio. So to record an audio, I'm going to need a plugin. I'm just going to head to this tab here, plugins. I've already got a few installed, but you will start with no plugins installed. That's fine. All you need to do is click add plugins and search for audio recorder. This free one by Renato is really good. I've already got it installed. All you need to do is just click install and you'll have it installed. When you go here, you can see this is the audio recorder plugin. Now, when I now go back to the design tab, I should have a new element. I should have this audio recorder element. I'll just drag and drop this one here. Now, notice this audio recorder element is just the actual recorder. It's not any UI or front end around it. So I'm going to need my own front end to build here. That's very straightforward. I have icons for this. So I can drag and drop an icon here. Okay. And I can search for microphone. I see this mic. Now I have a microphone icon. Okay. Now, what do I want? When somebody taps this or clicks this, I want it to start recording. That is done in the workflow tab. Now, there are no workflows at the moment. If I go to the design tab, I click the microphone, I click add workflow, it's automatically going to create one. When icon outline mic is clicked, click here to add a specific action. What specific action do I need to take? I'm going to type here audio, which is like start a audio recorder. Okay, that's all. Now it will start recording the audio. Now, if I click preview, Not VoicePal is live already. If I start clicking here, it's starting to record. I haven't made any workflow to stop recording, save the file, show me that it's recording somehow. So that's what we're going to now do. So going back, the one thing I need to do, I need to give some feedback to the user that the audio is now recording. That's quite easy. You can do this in the conditional tab. So I've clicked the icon, go to the conditional tab, and now I add a new condition. Then I say when audio recorder A recording status is yes. Okay. Now what do I want it to do? Probably change like color. So what property do I change? I'll just change icon color to something like maybe a bit of red. Okay. Now if I want to see what this red looks like, I can just click here. Yeah, that red looks okay. Now I haven't added the workflow to stop audio recording. Okay. So let me click here and let me add another icon, which is the stop icon. Okay. So I'll just click here, stop. Yep. No, what's the other one looking like? That's a bit better. So, but I want this to only be visible when it is recording, because if I click preview now, this icon is always visible. I only want this icon visible when it's actually recording. So I'm just gonna go to the layout tab. I'm gonna untick this. This element is visible on page load. I'm just gonna add a conditional now. So again, condition when audio recorder A recording status is yes, change the property. This element is visible, tick. So now if I click preview, it's not gonna be visible. If I click this and start recording, now it's visible, but I haven't added a workflow to stop recording yet. Okay. So let me just add that now. So again, I click the icon, click here, add workflow, click here to add an action, stop an audio recorder, done. Okay. Now I have only started an audio recording and stopped an audio recording. I've not saved it yet. Okay. So I'm going to tick this save to bubble option. Okay. Now in a production application, I would add a lot more UI, UX, some more workflows, but this is a tutorial. So I'd like to explain one by one. I want to save the file, show it. I want to pass the audio manually, show it, and I want to steer the conversation more. Now I've ticked this save to S3, but I need the file name to be saved in a place for me to use it so that I can pass it to the AI. So I'm going to click here to add an event. I'm going to go to elements. When a audio recorder file is saved, now if I want a particular action to trigger based on when a file is saved, I can add them here. At the moment, I just want to get some feel of it running. Now, one thing we do often for debugging purposes is to add a few alerts and some feedback. So to add that, just head to the plugins tab, add a plugin. You're looking for the ear alert plugin. Okay, I've already got it installed. All you need to do is just click install. It's a free plugin, and that will add back to the workflow tab. That will add, if I add ear alert standard, this particular action type. So file saved, what is the file URL? This audio recorder save to bubble URL. So let's see what this entire journey now looks like. Testing 1, 2, 3. File saved and some long URL here now. Before we go further, my goal is to reach 5,000 subscribers. So I'd really appreciate if you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Back to the video. Now going back to our next step here, we need to pass the audio to AI and ask it to generate and steer the conversation more. So just head over to platform.openai.com and you'll see something like this. Just click sign up here. Note, we're not using ChatGPT, we're using the underlying API infrastructure. Don't worry about this code. We're going to do this without learning how to program. Now, I already have an account. So when you sign up and go through the onboarding, you should reach some place like this, like called the playground. I already have an account. So this is what playground looks like for me. Now I need you to go to dashboard and go to API keys section. And when you are in the API keys section, just create a new API key, call it anything, YouTube, not VoicePal, create a key, and you will be shown a long piece of string. Just click this copy icon, leave this here, and let's head back to Bubble. Now you're going to be installing another plugin. This time the plugin is called the API connector plugin. It's the first plugin that you see, and just click install and it will install the API connector plugin. Okay. Now I already have this built, but I'm going to go from scratch so that you can see exactly all the steps that I have to follow. So add another API, just call it something OpenAI. I'll just call it V2 because I've already got that one here. The authentication you need is private key in header. Okay. And here is where you need to place bearer, BEARER space, whatever you copied from here. Click the copy icon in Bubble, paste it here. That's your authentication done. Now the next step, I need to send the audio to AI and ask it to do something. So for that, head over to platform.openai.com/docs/guide/audio. Scroll down a bit and you'll see audio input to model. Okay, we're giving audio to the model. And if you see something different, just head over to these options and select the curl option. When I see the curl option, all I need to do is copy this curl. I'll go to my API connector in Bubble, see this subtle import another call from curl. I'll just click here. I'll paste all this data and I click import. Okay. Now it's done all the hard part already to configure the API connector to an extent, but we're not done yet. We haven't connected the audio file to this particular API connector yet. Okay. Now, one thing I will add, let's just change the name here to pass audio to AI. And now this authorization bearer token, we've already done this here. So let me just delete that one from here. And one thing I need to do is, because I'm using it in the workflow tab, I need to use as action. Now this particular API, it requires audio in a base64 format. Nothing to be confused about base64. It's just how to encode the audio into a piece of text. Let's generate a simple audio file and then let's turn it into base64. So I'm just going to click preview. I've got my app loaded. So let's see. Testing 1, 2, 3. Stop. My file is saved here. Now where is this file in Bubble? I'll click here, click to the data tab, click to the file manager tab, and I see all these audio recordings. This is the one right now that I just did it. Let's open it in here. Testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's the one that I just generated. So I'm just gonna download this file. All right. I'm going to head over to this website. Just search for MP3 to base64 online. I found one of these websites. Just upload the file and click encode MP3 to base64. This is what base64 is. Why is this needed? This is needed because it's hard to pass whole files between different servers. So we just encode the file in a long piece of text, and everybody knows what base64 conversion looks like. Bubble can do base64 conversion, and then on OpenAI, they'll just convert from base64 back to MP3. This avoids any confusion between server handling. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to go back to my API connector and I'm going to paste this value here. Okay. Untick this private box. So let's initialize this call and see what happens. So it's giving me the audio is not a WAV format. That's correct because we actually used MP3. Our audio recorder plugin, if you look at the data tab, is an MP3 file, not a WAV file. So that's pretty simple. All I'll do is click here and turn this to MP3. I'll say this base64 is actually an MP3 file. So let's initialize the call. Success. Let's just scroll down and see what the actual response looks like. We're looking for this transcript. The recording sounds like someone conducting a microphone test by saying phrase testing 1, 2, 3. So the AI understood what I just did. Okay. Now click save here. Now by default, this example that we used, it gave us the response in an audio. Okay. For our not voice PAL example, we need the response in text. So we're just going to click here and see this modalities section. We're going to remove audio and remove this comma here as well. Let's reinitialize the call and see what it says now. Scroll down, show raw data. I don't have any audio, but I have a text role. It sounds like someone is performing a microphone test by saying test 1, 2, 3. The previous one, maybe you didn't catch it, but by default, I know it's going to be sending back an audio back. I just want a text for my not voice pal example. Let's click save here. Now the default text, the prompt for the AI is what is in this recording. We can give it anything. Now, one caveat. What I'm doing here is for learning purposes and tutorial purposes. In a real production app, I would be adding a lot more security in this whole element. But for right now, I'm just going to walk through as fast as I can. So this is a voice journal. I struggle with writer's block. Suggest some next ideas that I can talk about. Okay. Now I can reinitialize the call, but it's just a testing 1, 2, 3. Let's see what the AI thinks of that. I'm sorry to hear about it. It's a common reflect on recent experiences, share your current thoughts. It's just rambling on and on. Okay. But the audio file passed was just testing 1, 2, 3. We need to pass it some actual thoughts. So let's go back to our design tab. What do we want it to do? Let's go back. Now we need to pass the audio to AI. We've just initialized the API connector, not passed our audio to the AI. Let's do that now. So we're going to head over to the workflow tab. We're going to have a few simple steps. I'm going to add an action. It's going to be set state of an element. Okay. I'm going to select my page name. You may be on index. My page name is not voicepal. I create a new custom state. Okay. Audio file, state type, file, create. And I set this to this audio recorder's save to bubble URL. The reason I'm doing this is that the audio recorder is giving us a text, the URL of it. I want to handle it as a file. So I just added an intermediate state or variable to handle it as a file. The next action is pass audio to AI. See this long base64 string? Click here, insert dynamic data. Now we're looking for our state that we just created. So you may be using the index page name. So just go index. I'm using not voicepal. My page is not voicepal. Not voicepal, audio file, scroll down, encoded in base64. That's all. So now I've passed the audio to OpenAI. What about the response? This is where the alert is super useful. So let me just add an alert here. Response by AI. Click here, insert dynamic data, a result of step 3, which is the AI response. And this shows all the fields that OpenAI is returning to us. Our message is in choices, each item's message content, first item. Okay. That should do it, I think. So let's head over to preview. Startups are about solving a business problem. Some of the key things that we need for startups are, now I've got my writer's block. The file was saved. The file is being passed to OpenAI and it's asking me to talk about these things. Okay. Oh, my alert is gone. I probably need it saved and displayed consistently. So what I'm going to do, let me just for now set another state. Not voicepal. Oops, no. Not select the page name, create a new custom state, AI nudge. Select text. And I'm going to use the same thing here. I can copy the expression and paste it. So I'll right click, copy expression, click here, right click, paste expression. Okay. So I've saved it. I haven't displayed it in my front end. I'm going to go to the design tab. I'm going to drag and drop a text element. Okay. Make it big. Click here, insert dynamic data. And I'm looking for my page name index, or not voicepal, AI nudge. So that should display the AI nudge here. Let's see what it now looks like. I should grow my YouTube channel somehow, but I'm out of ideas. Pass to OpenAI. OpenAI responds with something. Okay, and here is the response that I should talk about. Create tutorials on topics I'm passionate about, startups and everything. Okay, that's a good nudge, so I'll start my recording again in VoicePal. Now I should record tutorials about how to build amazing apps using bubble.io. Which apps should I do now? Stop. File saved, pass to AI. And it's giving me more nudges. To-do app, event management, good stuff. That's the foundation of not VoicePal. I record audio, I pass audio to AI and ask it to generate something and steer the conversation more, and I do it again and do it again. Now, of course, in a production system, I won't just be saving it in states. I'll actually be using the data tab in data types, and I'll be saving all of these in a database. But let's go a little bit ahead to generate newsletter too long, journal entry. Okay, you know what? Let's just generate a tweet. That's nice and simple. Okay. Now, what do I want here? I want to click some button and ask it to generate a tweet. Okay. Based on some thoughts. Now, our current prompt is specifically designed to steer the conversation more, not to generate the tweets. Now we need to pass something to OpenAI and ask it to generate a tweet. We can go from audio to tweet, or this text to tweet, but let's just go straight from audio to tweet just as an example. Okay. All I need to do is go to the plugins tab, change this to of course, in a production system, you'll do a lot more. But as an example, I'm just going to change this to oops, what happened? You will receive an audio file of random thoughts. Turn it into a tweet. Okay. Reinitialize the call. Again, when I click reinitialize, I'm passing the original base 64, which is the test 1, 2, 3. But I can't listen, but I'd be happy to help you turn it into a tweet. Now just say reply with a great tweet. Of course, it can be a long prompt, but I'm just going to use with a simple one. Let's initialize it with, again, I just passed it test 1, 2, 3, by the way. So it's going to be testing complete, ready to take the world one tweet at a time. Okay, click save. So I've updated my API connector with a different prompt. Again, this is very bad security practice. In production systems, this is not how we do this. There's a whole bunch of stuff I'm skipping for this tutorial. So let's just click preview. We just changed our system to, instead of steer conversation, to just pass this. In fact, we didn't steer, we just went straight to audio to tweet now. So let's see. Startups are about solving a business problem and scaling marketing and service delivery. File saved, passed to AI. Great tweet, here it is. Startups are all about tackling real world business. Yeah, pretty decent tweet. Now let's spend a few minutes making the UI look really slick. Just some self-promotion here. I run a custom software and AI agency, and I've got a team building software like this all day, every day. So if you would like to build an app, just get in touch using the link in the description below. Okay, so I'm just gonna expand this to the full width. By the way, this is not a comprehensive, responsive or UI design tutorial, but just 5 minutes, bear with me for a bit. So let me just move it a little bit up. Sizing, spacing, alignment, hierarchy, a splash of color. That's your 30-second. Oops, I'm in the wrong place. I'm gonna make this icon a little bit big. 60 should be fine. Same for this one. 60 should be fine. It would be nice to have a few animations. For that, just head over to lottifiles.com and let's search for voice recording and see what comes up. This one's pretty good. So all we need is this particular URL. We can go to Bubble, we can go to plugins and install the Lottifiles plugin. So let's just add the Lottifiles plugin here, this one, and then we'll have a new element. We'll have Lottifiles. We can just place one here, and that .lottie animation, we can just copy this and paste it here. Okay, so now we just remove the controls and we've got the animation. So this is 60, this is 100. So let's just make this one 80 and 80 because the actual animation, there's a little bit of a difference here. Okay, so these can swap places. In fact, let's just put them all into a row container. In the field of web, rows and columns is how this will work. So this is a row container. I clicked here to align them here, and on the individual elements I'll align them vertically. So that should be good now. Let's just go move it a little bit at the top. In fact, you know what, let's add another something here. I'll just move this to the side. How about podcast? Ooh, this one's quite nice. Let's see if it's free. This one's quite nice. So let's just use this one. So we're just gonna generate a link, copy this over, go to Bubble. We need to add another Lottie file at the top. And let's just make it like here. Remove the controls. We can increase the size to 150 by 150, which is nice. Try and center it, center horizontally. Click here, center horizontally. Again, this is not how you would do responsive in a production app, by the way. Let's look at this text, center horizontally, appearance, and why is this center text vertically? Let's move it here. Let's see what this looks like now. Ooh, we forgot to add a conditional on this one. Let's see. We'll just add a conditional on, not on page load. We can copy the conditional from the stop one, right click somewhere outside in this gray area, copy condition and apply the condition here. Now, I'll be honest, alignment, sizing, spacing, this is not aligned. So what should we do here? We can swap them around. You can just swap. There was a swap button somewhere usually used to be. I don't remember anymore. So we can swap them around a bit. Let's see what that would look like. I clicked inside, swapped them around. This still isn't centered, is it? Oh, the size is off. So let's just make it 60 by 60 because otherwise it will never do that, and align it roll. Okay, so now this should be in the center horizontally. Yeah, this should be vertically aligned now. Let's see. Oh, I know. Yeah, we can hide this. Or we can just gray it out a little bit. I can recording 50%. Yeah, that should be fine. Let's see. Preview. Preview. Looking quite neat. Let's record. Testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that looks pretty good as well. Stop. Let's see what the text element looks like. Now we can make a processing animation as well, conditionally show a Lottie file there. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, just to recap what we did, we started with no programming knowledge, a blank canvas, and we ended up with version 0.01 of Not Voice Pal. It's alive. I can record some audio and it gives me a tweet or it helps steer the conversation a bit. Of course, in a production app, there's like 1,000 other steps to do. Ali Abdaal's posts mentioned that they spent about 2 months of dev time building VoicePal, which is pretty good. And then they spent about 6 months testing. I hope you found something useful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Thanks. Bye.